Hello. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jenny Barker, a naturopath and health educator. And today I wanted to come and talk to you about what might be causing your food intolerances and how you can find out what your food intolerances are. So I'm going to be sharing a great tool with you on, that'll help you to identify what foods you are reacting to. So some of us do have very sensitive bodies. I have removed my main food intolerances, or some of them I have a lower level of now that I know which foods I'm reacting to. But sometimes we still get tripped up. So in the weekend I ate some gluten-free wraps, which I hadn't eaten before, and I got a headache. I noticed during the night I was starting to get a headache, and the next day I got a migraine and I had quite a bad headache the following day. I then had another gluten-free wrap. I didn't realise that it was the gluten-free wraps that were causing the problem 2 days later, and I got the same symptoms. And I thought it was just hormones. I thought, my hormones are mucking around and that's what's causing the headaches and migraines. But then I thought, well, what else could it be? And I looked at these gluten-free wraps. I hadn't tried these before. My children eat them, but I look at the ingredients and think, no, that's not something I really want to be eating. But anyway, I had them on these occasions. And it had a preservative in it, number 282. So I looked up my little red book with additives in it, and it had a picture of a sad face, so it can have a smiley face or a sad face on it. And then it had common symptoms. And the first one on there was migraines. So, even when you think you've got your food intolerances under control, you still have to be a detective and figure out what it is that you're reacting to. And I did, on my research on this additive, I did see that in New Zealand and Australia, we have particularly high allowance that you're allowed of this food additive, which is a preservative that's often in breads and things like wraps. Compared to other countries around the world. Some of this stuff is just not safe for us to be eating. Some people will be fine eating it. No one else in my family had a problem, but I have a sensitive digestive system, and so got these reactions. All right, so today I want to talk to you about food intolerances and what could be causing them. If food intolerances are left unattended, then you can end up with all sorts of serious health issues. So please don't ignore your symptoms. They are telling you something, and food intolerances are extremely common. And often there's not just one food, so often there are multiple foods that are causing problems. So why might this happen? So in our digestive system, so in our small and large intestine, we have got 3 to 4 kgs of good and bad bacteria and fungi and viruses. There's a whole little world in there called the microbiome. And these can get out of balance. So we need to have a good diversity. So we need to have a whole lot of different types or species of these microbes. But sometimes they can get out of balance. So we need lots of good ones. We hear about probiotics and lactobacillus and bifido, that we get in yogurt and things. So these probiotics can be good for us, but we need to have these good bacteria in our guts, to keep balance of the bad bacteria. But sometimes these bad bacteria get overgrown, or fungi, or you might get some parasites in there, and then that can cause all sorts of health issues. So a healthy microbiome is really important because it has so many important functions. So we've got 80% of our immune system is in our gut. We make some of our vitamins. Some of those good bacteria break down our fibers, so that makes these vitamins. So the microbiome has a big influence on our health. It affects our hormones, our sleep, our ability to think. So it's really important. And so many of the causes of food intolerances are things that affect that microbiome. So things like medication can cause problems. So particularly known to cause problems are protein pump inhibitors, oral contraceptive pill, definitely antibiotics. So some people will find they are on a course of antibiotics, and then suddenly they've got bowel issues or diarrhea or something, even when they've finished taking them. And sometimes when I talk to clients, they can relate their symptoms back to, I went on 2 lots of antibiotics last winter, and I've had problems with my gut since, and I've had brain fog and painful joints or whatever it might be since I had those antibiotics. So other things that can cause problems with your digestive system that can create food intolerances are a lack of digestive enzymes being produced in your gut and hydrochloric acid. So your digestive enzymes, they help to break down your fats and your proteins and your carbs, and the hydrochloric acid also helps to break down your protein foods, so the hydrochloric acid is made in your stomach. And as we age, that starts to decline. So from sort of your 50s onwards, you start to decline the amount of hydrochloric acid you produce, and then, by the time you're 70, there's not much being produced at all. But often people are still eating these foods that we need to break down properly, so that we don't end up with dysbiosis, or when that good and bad bacteria gets overgrown, that's called dysbiosis, and that can cause lots of symptoms. If we don't break our food down properly, then those particles of food can't be absorbed, and so they're too large, and then they create havoc, and they can create fermentation, which sometimes can cause bloating and pain in your abdominal area. So digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid are super important. Hydrochloric acid also helps to kill off the bugs and that you eat on your food that you don't even realize because you can't see them, or even things like parasites. So that hydrochloric acid is really important. So another cause of food intolerances is stress. So if we are stressed, like I spoke about the other day, if we have stress, we cannot digest our food properly because our blood is being diverted to our large muscles because we need to run away from the tiger. We need to get away from the stress. So we don't want to sit down and have lunch if we're stressed, even though we might just be sitting at our desk and being stressed with work. Our body doesn't know that, and it produces all these stress hormones, and it takes that blood away from the digestive system. So other things that can cause issues with your gut and cause food intolerances are a lack of particular nutrients. So I've said hydrochloric acid, which we produce naturally, but we can also take it as a supplement. But zinc is a really, really common mineral that we're deficient in, that's really important for our digestive system and hundreds of other processes in our body. So our hormones are really reliant on zinc, our immune system is really reliant on zinc, skin, but breaking down our food properly, we need enough zinc in our stomach. So it's super common, no matter how good your diet is. I mean, I am not actually sure if I have any clients who are not taking a zinc supplement in some dose or in a particular form, and sometimes they're taking two different types of zinc. So zinc is super important. So lack of nutrients can cause problems. Even things like breaking down your food properly by chewing are super important. And if you're sort of inhaling your food, chew, swallow, your stomach doesn't have teeth, then that can create a bad environment in there and then allow you to develop a poor microbiome, which then creates these reactions to foods. So, there's a number of different causes. Other things that can cause food intolerances are things like if you've got gallbladder issues or if you've had your gallbladder removed, because then you're going to have problems with breaking down your fats. And so if you can't break down your fats properly, then that can muck up your microbiome as well and cause you to start reacting to foods. Genetics can definitely play a role in there as well. I've done my gene testing and I know my genes definitely don't set me up for good digestive health, but I do what I can to remove my food intolerances and keep a healthy gut and live a healthy lifestyle. So one of the best ways of identifying what foods you are intolerant to is by keeping a food and symptom diary. And you've probably heard me say this before, but it is so important and it is so easy to do, and it gives you so much good information. So what it does is it helps you to track what foods you are eating and what reactions you are getting, and then to link those together. So there's a specific way that I recommend to do this so that you can get the best information and figure out which foods are likely to be contributing to your symptoms. So what I've done is I've created a 6-page PDF, which is free for you to download, and it's got instructions on there. There's exactly how to do everything, in this specific way, and there's a template there for your food and symptom diary as well. But this is a really good starting place in terms of figuring out what foods you are intolerant to and which ones you might start to try and avoid, and then see what happens to your symptoms. So you'll find this download on the website. So if you go to www.newmenaturally.com/food diary, then you'll find it there. So I'll pop that in the comment section below as well. So food intolerances are so common. They cause so many issues. I've had hundreds and hundreds of clients have problems with foods, remove their foods intolerances from their diet, and so many of their symptoms just disappear. One lady ended up having a major operation and a major investigation done, or investigation procedure done, to get rid of some abdominal pain that she had that was quite severe for a year and a half. Neither of those things helped at all, and then when I told her to take gluten out of her diet, I think it was within 5 days, the pain was almost gone. So really don't underestimate it, what food intolerances can do and what symptoms they can cause. There's all sorts of digestive symptoms that can happen with your reflux, bloating, irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea, constipation, gut pain, and then there's things like joint pain, headaches, migraines, fatigue, depression, brain fog. The list really does just go on. And if you don't address your food intolerances, then what happens is there's this chronic inflammation that happens in the body. So your body is inflamed all the time. And it's just a low level of inflammation, but what this does is it sets you up for chronic diseases. And so that's including high blood pressure, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and even things like cancer. So you really want to get on top of it, one, so that you can feel better, and two, so that you can really have good health in your future. So I hope that's been helpful. I will catch you again next week. Bye for now.